Great. It's a privilege to be with you this afternoon, and I am Bruce Starr. I do have the privilege of representing the good constituents in western Washington County, the communities of Hillsborough, Cornelius, Forest Grove, and North Plains. I want to just hit on a few issues real quickly. 8 minutes sounds like a lot of time. It's not a lot, and there's a lot to say. I'll hit on a few issues real quickly and then open it up for questions, or actually I guess my colleagues will go and then we'll have questions. The issues that I'm most focused on in Salem this session are transportation-related issues. As you know, getting here today is sometimes a challenge. Though you're in the middle of the day, it's maybe a little bit easier than if it were at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're in the process right now of working on a transportation funding package to come out of this legislative session. A funding package that would invest in Oregon's roads and bridges and highways. It would invest in non-highway transportation, transit, ports, airports, our waterways. Also invest in other infrastructure that's important to the economic health of Oregon, including water and sewer and irrigation projects. It's a broad jobs bill. The governor has a bill called the Jobs and Transportation Act. I think that the jobs piece is the critically important piece. As we look at the state of our economy right now, with 11% or so of our friends and neighbors and colleagues out of work, the opportunity for us to invest public dollars in infrastructure today and put Oregonians to work, I think, is critically important. Not only do we have a short-term benefit of those job creations, of spending those public dollars, getting folks to work, but it also creates an economic foundation from which, when this recovery occurs, we will then have that economic base, that foundation. That's the benefit, to have long-term investments that not only do the short-term fixes, the short-term jobs, but are the projects that we're going to fund, are they going to support a long-term economic recovery? Projects like, here in Washington County, expanding, widening the Sunset Highway. We've all seen the benefits of the widening now that has occurred to Cornell Road. It makes sense to continue that progress out to at least 185th and beyond. Projects like investments in Highway 217. It's amazing to me that short stretch of highway, 7+ miles, sometimes takes so long to get from one end of it to the other. We need to invest in widening and improving and modernizing that particular stretch of highway. There are additional investments that need to be made in highway interchanges, and one of them particularly is in my district in Hillsborough, the Chute Road interchange. You look at that road, as somebody that maybe drives it occasionally, and I would suspect some of you do, you think, well, there's nothing wrong with this particular interchange. Why would we want to invest, here's the number, $60 million in that interchange? I'll tell you why. It's because we have 2 plots of ground, one on the north side and one on the south side of that interchange, that is available for development, but we can't develop it unless we improve the infrastructure there, because we have a transportation planning rule that the Department of Transportation has passed that basically says you got to have the transportation facilities to support the jobs before you can basically build the infrastructure to bring the jobs. So that's why we're talking about a $60 million investment on Chute Road. Also, the Glencoe Road interchange, a little bit further out, that really serves my constituents in western Washington County. It's old, it's too small, it doesn't serve anybody very well at all anymore, and we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of a $20 million investment there. Cornelius Pass Road. Cornelius Pass Road is another facility that it's not the Washington County part of that road is in great shape. It's the Multnomah County portion of the road that basically goes up and over the hill. It's in dire straits and needs some significant investment. We've had a young 16-year-old crash and pass away within the last year or so, maybe 18 months. We got to invest in that road. It provides a critical link between Highway 26 and Highway 30. Again, it would serve my constituents in Hillsborough and western Washington County as they try to find another route to get to the Port of Portland. But we're talking about big dollars. Now, those are just projects in our neck of the woods here in Washington County. Of course, we will have projects spread throughout the state. The transportation needs throughout the state are immense. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get this process put together. It will require an increase in fees, probably registration and title fees, perhaps a gas tax increase, in order to fund the overall investments. That's part of the mix. We're working together in a bipartisan fashion, House and Senate members, Republicans and Democrats together to get this job done. It's that important for Oregon, and we must do it. You heard from Representative Edwards about the budget issues. Clearly, we have a very difficult budget environment that we're working with. As I look at this as a Republican, we've got 11% or so of our friends, neighbors, and colleagues who are unemployed. That means on the flip side, you got 88 to 89% of our friends and colleagues and neighbors that are employed. What we do in Salem, we must not enact policies that make it more difficult for those small businesses that are employing those 88 to 89% to maintain that employment. And I'm very fearful that we will, in Salem, the legislature may pass policies, pass mandates, pass taxes that will make it more difficult for businesses to continue to keep those folks employed. What we should not do, what we must not do, is pass policies that deepen and lengthen this recession. On the flip side, we need to be encouraging the entrepreneurs and the innovators in our state, encourage those businesses, especially the small businesses where the vast majority of Oregonians are employed, so that they can hire new employees. We need to give them certainty as it relates to the tax code. Unfortunately, we have no certainty today in the tax code, both at the state or federal level. And you have a lot of folks, a lot of investors that are basically sitting on their cash, waiting to see what happens if they have cash left. And believe me, there's folks that did see what was coming and are in a cash position, but they're sitting on their cash because they don't have any certainty about what the future holds. At the state level, we should provide that certainty. With that, I will say thank you. Look forward to the questions, and really it's just been as difficult as this session is, there is an opportunity here. It's an opportunity for us as state government to focus on what's really important. Those choices are not easy. Those choices that we have to make. Thank you very much.